a masterful performance, from your ace. You went out and you did ace things for this team, and it was remarkable to watch. When he's on, he's as special as any pitcher in Major League Baseball. And every fifth day, you feel pretty good when he goes out to the mound, and tonight was no different. One Royal way back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Be sure you are subscribed on YouTube and on all audio platforms. Hit those notification bells so you know when our next episode goes up. We are closing in on that 700 subscriber mark on YouTube. If you are watching this and you are not subscribed, please be sure to do so, and tell your friends to do it as well. Let's keep growing this channel. I appreciate all the support that I've gotten so far this season doing this thing on my own, 3 episodes a week. I've enjoyed the hell out of it. It's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to see where this thing continues to roll. This show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank, our partners in Possible. Member FDIC, we can't thank them enough for the support of this show and of everything that they support us doing here at Kansas City Sports Network. The Royals win the first 2 games of this series against the Minnesota Twins. They win 4-2 on Monday, 2-1 on Tuesday. I'm recording about 15-20 minutes after that game ended. No live show tonight, just because the game ended, kind of late. The Royals play a day game on Thursday. I'm going to go ahead and record a normal 8:30 Central. We'll go live on YouTube for that one. Talk about the last 2 games of the Minnesota series, and then preview the series against the Cleveland Guardians coming up this weekend. So to go into the game on Monday night, Royals win 4-2. It was not the prettiest game, but again, kind of similar to what we saw on Sunday against Baltimore. Royals jumped on Simeon Woods Richardson early on in this one. They get 3 on him in the first couple of innings. They scratch 1 more across in the 6th on a Kyle Isbell home run. Talk a little more about him here in a minute. And that's all you needed. The Twins got 1 in the 2nd off Michael Lorenzen. Other than that, he gives you 6 strong, 1-run ball. That's about all you can ask for out of him. I was really impressed with what I saw from him. As I've talked about, I don't have super high expectations. And it's not that I don't think he can achieve it, but when you look at a 5-starter, a lot of times their role is, can you get me through the order a couple times, save the bullpen a little bit, and keep your team in the ball game. In both of his starts this year, he's done that. It got away from him in the 6th against the Brewers, but I still thought he pitched well, showed signs of what he can do. And then I thought he pitched really well yesterday. Not always the most efficient. It's not always the prettiest, but it gets the job done. A weird 2nd inning stopped him from probably getting into the 7th inning. The Royals pitchers in 2nd inning so far this year has been odd. I can't quite figure that out, but they'll have a really strong 1st and then they'll struggle in the 2nd. I can't quite figure it out. Maybe over a larger sample, we'll see. But he mixed 7 pitches, very fastball heavy, both straight 4-seam, sink, cut. He's going to move the ball all over the place. He's going to move it to all 4 quadrants. He's going to mix and match, and he did that. Not a ton of called strike whiffs. He had 11 whiffs. But he's not an overpowering pitcher. I will say, though, he did get up around 96, which is kind of the top end of his velo, but he's able to reach back and get it when he needs it. If he can continue to do this, and even if it's not 6 innings, 1-run ball, like I can't expect that every 5th day from Michael Lorenzen, but seems like he and Brian Sweeney, Zach Bove have a really good rapport. He's been great since coming to Kansas City. Last year when they kind of mixed up his pitch usage and his arsenal a little bit, they fixed some things with the way he was attacking hitters, and it's made a ton of difference. And now he's been fantastic. So that you feel really good about where this rotation is coming into the year. It's how are they going to replace the 180 innings Brady Singer gave as great as he was last year, and as great as Waco, Lugo, and Reagans are. Like there's the unknown of Chris Bubich, and who knows what you're going to get out of Michael Lorenzen. Well, Bubich looks like he's the real deal, and Michael Lorenzen is going to give you 5 or 6 every single, the first 2 starts. If he can keep doing that, you cover those innings in the aggregate, even if maybe the production is not quite as top end as what maybe a Brady Singer would give you. But this is a really good start to the season for him. the bullpen got it done again. Back-to-back games with Harvey, Ursig, Estevez. Now, Harvey was good again. It didn't take him near as long, way through 15 pitches, but it was not clean. I think he gave up a knock, but guys are going to give up hits every once in a while. Ursig was pretty wild. He pretty much only had his fastball in this game, and even then, he was spraying it arm side pretty consistently. He didn't have it. He spiked his changeup, his slider. He was spiking that too, and he's still able to get out of the inning clean after a walk. Battled Carlos Correa. I mean, it was a 12-pitch at bat. Eventually gets him 99, top of the zone. Gets the punchy, but it was not clean. It might have been one of the worst times I've seen Lucas Ursig since he came to Kansas City, because he did not have the secondaries at all. And Estevez, it was not clean for him either. After a pretty quick Sunday, he ended up throwing 23 pitches. He threw 40. Ursig threw 40. I think Estevez's pitch count was up into the upper 20s back-to-back days. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about the way one-inning relievers throw, they're blowing it out for however long it takes to get through that one inning, and then that time to recover is different because of the way that they use their arm during that one inning as opposed to stretching out over 5 or 6. So them going back-to-back days almost exclusively it was going to burn them for today and possibly tomorrow, and that's something we'll talk about tonight with the bullpen usage. So they get it done, and they got it done again. It was not as comfy, but you get it. You're able to get through the 6th with Michael Lorenzen. He's able to cover those innings, so then you're not having to worry about Harvey for the 6th or Ursig for the 7th. However, if he can only get through the 5th, whatever it is, it saved the guys for tonight that they went in and used. And as I mentioned, the offense was opportunistic early. It wasn't always the prettiest. They manufactured runs the way that this team has for a few years, and it has been kind of a hallmark of the Royals for a long time. It's not always going to be double, home, or single, but it's a lot of singles. It's a lot of moving guys over, bunting, RBI ground out, sack flies. It's something we've seen a lot from this team. And Vinny hits a bloop double, which again, it's not the sexiest thing in the world, but hey, found green grass, and Jonathan India scores after he led off the game with a double. And he had 2 walks in that game as well. Bobby had an unlucky 0 for 4. He lined out a handful of times. Michael Garcia stayed hot. MJ probably had his most confident swing of the year. And I know that people still want to jump on him and that he's, still is not playing well, performing. If I can defend him for a moment, the quality of his at-bats has been better. Is that always an indicator that things are turning the corner? No. But he took a walk earlier in this game. The swing looked more like a confident MJ Melendez. Drove it over Matt Wallner's head for a double. Best swing of the year. And he needed that in the worst way. And then MJ comes back up. Simeon Woods Richardson is then throwing him change-ups and curveballs in the dirt. First 5-6 games of the year, MJ's probably swinging at those. Because he was trying to swing his way out of the slump. Instead, he spits on him, and he gets on base and work a walk. And that, to me, says, okay, he's seeing the ball better. Even if the results may not be there all the time for him, it's something. It's a step in the right direction because they're going to need him until someone proves that they can handle more corner outfield spots. Like, they need it. Even if he's hitting bottom of the order, it's something, right? Mike Hells hit the ball really well. He only got 1 hit, but still felt like he hit the ball pretty well yesterday. Kyle Isbell, man, got to give him credit. The first 2 hits, he hit like a little slice swinging bunt thing with the infield in, but still playing him to pull, hit it in the perfect spot. Runner comes home from third, and MJ comes home from third, and you get a run out of it. It was, again, not sexy, but it gets the job done. Lays down a push bunt or a drag bunt down the, it wouldn't have been a drag. It was a push bunt on the third base line. Simeon Woods Richardson, pitchers, the pitchers aren't athletes. That's tough. Pitchers are athletes, but he certainly did not help the cause there. After totaling, I don't know, 10, 15 feet worth of hits with his first 2, pops a 400-foot homer pull side there to give the Royals an insurance run and help put the game away. He's not the best hitter in the world. We know that. We need more offense out of the outfield, but I talked about it a couple days ago. We don't need it to be everybody every night because Vinny, Bobby Salvi, Jonathan India are going to do their part at the top of the order. Massey as well. I feel like he's hit the ball well, even if the results maybe haven't quite come for him. You just need one guy, and Michael, throw him in that list too with what he's done early in the year. You need somebody to come through, even if he goes 0-for-4 with 4 punchies the next day. If he gives you a couple hits and a couple RBIs one night a week, it makes the offense that much better to where not all the heavy lifting is on 2, 3, 4. So much of this offense last year came from that, but it was every once in a while MJ would pop and have a game. Kyle would have a game. Michael Massey would have a game. You just need some of your role players, maybe the dudes that you don't rely on a ton, to just pop one every once in a while, and it makes the offense that much better. I want to continue to see that, so I'll tip my cap to Kyle Isbell for yesterday. Talk about the game tonight. Here we go right after this.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Are you ready to win real money this March? Struggling to choose which team will pull off an upset? Forget about the teams. All you need to focus on are player stats to rack up big cash prizes with DraftKings Pick 6. And when it comes to the massive payouts, DraftKings dunks over all the competition. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. Track your picks for a shot to win huge cash prizes. It's as simple as that. All you have to do is pick which players you think will score, rebound, get assists, and fill up the stat sheet, and you can win. It's that easy. So turn your college basketball knowledge into cash today. New players get $50 in Pick 6 credits instantly with just a $5 entry. So download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited, 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promo.
Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button on all platforms. I appreciate the support here. We're closing in on 700 on YouTube. I want to keep trying to go for that before the end of April. Royals win tonight on Tuesday night, 2-1. They get 3 hits. That's all they needed to win tonight. And it's easy to need only 2 runs to win a ball game when Cole Reagans goes out and does what he did. One of his most dominant starts as a Royal, which is, that's a list that's tough to find because he has been so good for pretty much his entire time as a Kansas City Royal. 6 innings, scatters, they believe it was 3 hits, 1 run, no walks, 11 strikeouts. He had 7 strikeouts through 3. He had the changeup working from the jump, and the fastball was up into the mid to upper 90s. He had a weird little velo dip in the 5th that caught my eye because he had been 94, 95, 96, popping 97 with 2 strikes when he needs it, kind of pushing and pulling the velo to stay in the game and not wear down. Command went away from him for a little bit. He curveball popped out early. He hit Edouard Julian. And then the first fastball he threw to Harrison Bader was like 92. And it was 93. And I was like, ooh, that was a weird jump down that fast. But then later in the inning, Carlos Correa comes up and he throws 97 again. So again, just kind of pushing and pulling the velo to stay in it. But he was fantastic tonight. He kept the Royals in the game. He was pitch efficient, which they needed desperately from him. As good as he is, he does have some of that Blake Snell in him where it is, like he's got 10 strikeouts in 5 innings, but he's also thrown 93 pitches to get through 5. He was into the upper 90s, but he at least got through 6. And that's what this team needed so badly because Estevez, Harvey, and Ursig were out. They were not going to pitch tonight. It did not seem. They were glued to the bench watching that game out in the bullpen. Angel Serpa came out and pitched the 7th. It was a solid outing for him. Gave up an infield hit, but he was around the zone. I just want to see him continue to pound zone. His stuff is so good. The stuff plus grades out above average on the sinker and the slider. I just want to see him continue to be in the zone because when he is, it's exploding stuff. And he should be so much better than some of the results and some of the stats show. He should be a lot better, and I think he's going to be. John Schreiber gives you an inning in 2/3, gets a strikeout, scatters a couple of hits in the 8th, but he gets Carlos Correa to roll over on a cutter down and away, gets the double play ball, gets out of the 8th, and then gets the first 2 outs of the 9th with the lefty coming up. They bring in Daniel Lynch, who gets the save, and you get out of this game. And it was one I was kind of worried about given the pitch counts that I mentioned talking about on Monday with Harvey, Estevez, and Ursig going, they weren't going to go 3 games in a row. And I know that it sounds like, they should, but this early in the season, there's no reason for him to go 3 days in a row unless it's the playoffs. You're just not going to see that happen. And you're still in a stretch where you don't have an off day until the 21st after the 21st of April. So think about that, like that amount of time, if they throw 3 days in a row, you're probably not going to see him again until Saturday, May at the earliest for some of those guys, depending on how efficient the 3rd outing in a row is. But even then, they're not throwing Wednesday. They're not throwing Thursday. Maybe they throw Friday. You have to manage the bullpen that way too. I know that it sounds easy to just, hey, let's just go to Ursig, and that's great. But how volatile relievers are, and with the velocity and the intent with which they throw in these 1 innings, it's really hard to recover and do it. You can do it back-to-back days if your pitch count was low, but doing it again after throwing 40 pitches in 2 days at 98, 99 full intent, you're not going to get the same results. The velo is going to drop. The command is going to go because your arm is cooked, and they need the rest. That's why you have 8 guys in your bullpen and not 4. And the Royals need to show that they have trust in this in these guys. And outside of Harvey, Estevez, Ursig, Schreiber's actually, I thought he's been solid the last couple of outings. He got roughed up the first couple outings, but after that, I feel like he's not giving up loud contact or a ton of loud contact. It's a lot of stuff on the ground, which is his specialty. It was good to see Zerpa. He got some time off. I don't even think he threw it all in the Baltimore series. Get your mind right. And seems like he did. Comes out tonight, throws a perfect inning, or not perfect, but shutout inning. And Lynch gives you 2 pitches, just in case they needed it. But credit to those guys because this team needed it badly to give their best guys the night off after throwing back-to-back days. There wasn't a lot to speak of offensively. They worked some walks. They had some solid plate appearances. People were crapping on Vinny for swinging at some pitches down and in when he had the bases loaded. Sure, if he didn't swing at them, sure he walks, but a lot of those were strikes for 46 feet. And that's the decision point. And with the way that's how wide that strike zone was, I don't blame guys for fighting stuff off. I'm never going to harp on guys too bad for chasing with 2 strikes and fouling stuff off. Chasing and trying to spoil pitches are 2 different things. And it felt like Vinny was he was in hack mode, and he was just going to try and spoil as much as he could, get Cole Sands to come back in the strike zone. And he did, and Vinny crushed it, but he hit it to the deepest part of the yard. If he's a little earlier on it, maybe it's in the fence. We're talking, over the fence. We're talking about a grand slam instead. But still put a pretty good swing on it. He didn't get the result. But then later in the game, Bobby comes up and he hits a tapper back to the pitcher. And again, the pitchers are athletes thing, man. They're not helping the cause. Griffin Jax throws it over the head of the first baseman, and Bobby's off and running. And the second he saw that ball go over Ty Francis' head, he was getting third. And he got there. Vinny comes up, and it's a spot where Vinny has come through so often for this team over the last season plus. He just does his job. And it's not pretty. It's not sexy, but he's just going to, if I make any sort of contact here, Bobby's going to score. He hits a little tapper in between the pitcher and the first baseman, and Bobby's running on the play. And if there's anybody to run the contact play with on this team, it's Bobby. And Bobby's off on contact, and he scores. You get the lead in the 8th, and you win a ball game. They took advantage of some errors and some mistakes on the Twins' part, and that's what good teams do. You take advantage of those, even if you don't have your best stuff tonight. And the Royals did. The offense is still super inconsistent. They are not coming through in some of these big spots like they did last year. They are not always the most opportunistic team, but when the chips were down and they needed it tonight, even if it's just a tapper back to the first baseman to score a run, they got the job done. And that's all you can ask for. Going forward, we need to see more from the offense. It can't continue to be like this for too much longer, as you're putting some serious pressure on the pitchers to, they have to go out and throw zeros. And that's just not going to happen every single night. As much as we would like to believe it with this starting rotation, guys are going to get blown up. And, if your starter gets blown up, you got to be able to pick them up, and you got to be able to score runs and keep your team in the ball game. And it can't just be, they scored 3 in the 4th. That's it. And I know the team doesn't think that way, but it's going to feel that way. You're down a couple late in the game. This offense needs to show more to be able to come through, and that they can come through in those spots. And they found a way to do it tonight. Joe Ryan versus Seth Lugo tomorrow. Bailey over Michael Wacha in the finale day game on Thursday. I mentioned it on Sunday. Joe Ryan absolutely kills the Royals. This is going to be a really tough game. Hopefully Lugo is able to build off of his start against Baltimore on Friday. And if he's able to, again, get to the 6th, and 1 or maybe 2 of Ursic, Harvey, Estevez are ready and find a way to win a game, if they're able to scratch a couple off of Joe Ryan. And the Twins are going to need length out of Joe Ryan. If the Royals are able to get to him at all, then their bullpen is already pretty taxed, because Pablo Lopez left with the trainer in the 5th. He didn't give you much length after they really needed it. Woods Richardson got into the 7th, but they still had to use multiple relievers in that game, and it ultimately didn't matter. So and coming off a series against the Astros where they had to use a bunch of relievers, especially on Sunday. So a lot of those guys are burned, or they have high pitch counts going into Wednesday. I don't know what their bullpen is going to look like, but it bodes well for the Royals if they're able to, for the first time ever, knock around Joe Ryan. And it would be super poetic and super ironic if that's the way the offense breaks out, is against a guy that just has owned you for his entire career. Biggest thing, let's go and do a little bit of minor league stuff, and then we'll get out of here. The biggest story, obviously, is Jac Caglianone. Home debut out in Springdale for the Northwest Arkansas Naturals against the Frisco Rough Riders. He gets an 0-2 pitch after taking one and fouling one off, and man, he took a big hack at it. And he hit a ball 468 feet to dead center. Or not to dead center, to right field, nearly over the berm. I mean, just unbelievable power. 1 for 3 tonight with 2 walks, no strikeouts. He's hitting 375 with a 1268 OPS, and this is in 4 games, small sample sizes, yada, yada. He is just going to keep doing this, it seems. Sometimes you look for okay, when's the adjustment? And it might come. There might be an 0 for 12 with 7 strikeouts coming. I don't know. But it seems like he's just seeing a beach ball to begin the season, and maybe starting him in Double-A was a little low. I'm not going to, as I mentioned on Sunday, as impressive as that home run was, I am not going to advocate that he needs to be in Kansas City until he gets to AAA. Once he gets to AAA, I will entertain that conversation every episode if it takes it. What I know, and I made this point, but I was also rambling as I was doing it. What I know right now, given Hunter Renfroe has struggled, MJ Melendez is struggling, Kevin Biggio is fine, but he's okay. Mark Canha, it looks like he's banged up or he got banged up, but he's fine. It's not going to quiet down anything like what those guys are doing. If they were producing and Cags was doing this, it was like, okay, well, eventually they're going to need to find a way to get Cags in the lineup. Well, now it's at a point where people want Jac Caglianone here now, and that he can probably strike out and still hit some more home runs and do some more stuff, the same kind of stuff Hunter Renfroe is. And like, I get the argument, but I'm not going to advocate for that at this time. I want to see a little bit more, but 2 walks, no strikeouts tonight is a good sign that he's being a little more patient, being a little more selective, seeing more pitches and hammering mistakes. And he did that again tonight on another 0-2 pitch. It is crazy. I think every home run that he has hit between spring training and the first 2 in Double-A are all on 0-2 counts or 2-strike counts. And that is unbelievable. The ability to be in a 2-strike count, you're in the most vulnerable position that a hitter can be in. He's like, nah, I'm still going to get my ace swing off and hit it 460 feet. It's pretty unbelievable. He is continuing to make it like, yeah, I'm going to hit my way to Kansas City at some point this year. And he very well might. I'm not going to rule anything out with what this guy can do, because he's flat out unbelievable. To hit those types of home runs, he's going to be a problem for Major League Baseball whenever it's time for him to come up to Kansas City, whether that's this year at the end, mid-year at the end of this year, whatever the case. It's going to be pretty damn special to watch him and Bobby Wood Jr. in the same lineup whenever it comes. Down on the farm, the only other real start of note that I thought was interesting, Blake Walters going back for a second round at low A. He goes 5 innings, only gives up 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, did walk 3, but strikeout number for him, like that's good to see. Not a ton else tonight. Quad City's got shut out. I believe Omaha was pretty solid. I think they won. I don't know. Cameron pitched well. You think he went 5 innings, struck out 5, only walked 1, I believe was his line. I won't confirm that here. Shoot, where is that? I thought I had pulled up and I hit the wrong guy. They won 3-0. Offensively, not a ton to speak of. But Cameron goes 6, 2 hits, no earned, strikes out 5. That's a guy that is going to help and impact the big league roster here sooner rather than later. I think that's going to do it for this episode. Before I get out of here, Toast Game sponsored by our good friends at Holiday Distillery. If I'm going to toast game for the Monday game, I'll give it to Kyle Lisbell. 3 hits, a home run. Is a guy that is kind of a punching bag at times for the lack of offense. He gave it to you for a game when this team needed it. And I'm going to give it to Cole Reagans, obviously, for the game on to a masterful performance. From your ace, you went out and you did ace things for this team, and it was remarkable to watch. When he's on, he's as special as any pitcher in Major League Baseball. And every 5th day, you feel pretty good when he goes out to the mound, and tonight was no different. So shout out to Kyle Lisbell and Cole Reagans. That's going to do it for One Royal Way tonight. Appreciate you guys' support. I will talk to you guys on social media leading up to Thursday, and then Thursday night, 8:30 Central, live on YouTube, recapping the Wednesday and Thursday night games, previewing the weekend series against the Cleveland Guardians. I will talk to y'all then. Take care.